I'm Richard Mast, your host.
And I'm Liam Conley.
We're starting this new segment where we talk about films. We're going to be talking about The Exorcist in honor of the new film coming out tomorrow. This was both of our first times watching this movie.
Yeah.
I know, talking to you a little bit beforehand, you weren't the biggest fan of it.
Well, all right, listen.
Yeah.
Horror-type movies, I'm not the biggest, just fan of generally. I'll watch it, but it's not typically the best thing. And I was watching it alone in the morning, so I was kind of tired already. And for the whole movie, them practically talking.
You were falling asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I mean, it's a really slow burn.
Yeah.
When I was looking through it, the actual exorcism stuff didn't start till the last 30 minutes, and the actual ghost getting her being haunted, I guess.
Yeah.
Or,
possessed.
Possessed. Thank you. She wasn't until an hour in.
Yeah.
So it really is a slow start. But honestly, I really enjoyed it. I guess I watch a lot more slower movies.
Yeah.
So I'm more used to it.
You're definitely the more slower pace, slow burn. I'm more of the not so much action, but high pace.
You need something to keep your attention, grab you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why you're such a big fan of Barbie.
Oh, yes, of course. This isn't about Barbie.
No. I really liked how it's sort of this exploration of losing your faith almost. Because when you're looking at Damien, who's the main priest throughout the whole movie, struggling with the fact that he is in the church, he mentions at one point that he wants to leave, and then his mother passes away.
Oh yeah,
and so he's struggling. We see him drinking aggressively. We see him falling asleep. One of the other priests has to help him, and so it's just this idea that he's coming to grips with the fact that this is real. Because at the end when he is doing the exorcism with Father Marin and the bed starts to raise up from the ground, you can see him pause.
Yeah, and he's we are here.
Goodness. Yeah. He's this is a real thing that's going on. This isn't
yeah.
Because he had to approve that it was a real exorcism, that they can do the exorcism.
Right.
But he wasn't even sure himself if it was real.
Yeah.
He saw the family needed help. So something that bothered me, I will say, is that there is a scene where they are in the hospital when they were talking about with his mother, and his mother goes into the hospital. Mm-hmm. So they're in the psych ward or whatever.
Yeah.
And it literally cuts from him standing over his mother in the hospital bed to immediate, it's a 5-second shot of him boxing.
I was gonna say.
Did you notice that?
Yes.
And then it goes straight into the party at the mom's house.
Yeah, I wrote down a little bit of notes, and one of the things was just the pacing is very odd.
Yeah, it was a weird editing choice because I think they mentioned that he has a boxer's build once when the detective's trying to find him, and it's really weird. But he kind of looks like Rocky.
Yeah,
he kind of looks like Sylvester Stallone. So when I saw that, I was just thinking of Rocky the whole time after that.
God.
It was very weirdly paced. It's just, but something else I want to bring up is the score. I really liked the score, or just the sound in general. So one of the when we're in the opening and we're in the desert, right?
Yeah.
There we see Father Marin walk up. He's looking at the statue, and it's just this really loud buzzing. That just cuts really dramatically, and for me, that made me really tense because I don't get scared typically by horror movies, but I was very the whole movie I was just uneasy.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I was very uneasy with the whole movie, and when we actually start seeing what's the daughter's name?
Reagan.
When we start seeing her get possessed,
and
she's saying all these things and vomiting up Nickelodeon slime.
The fact that it's her voice talking at first, and then throughout the movie it progressively gets to Captain Howdy.
Yeah.
It changes, because in that middle area where it's kind of both of them, that was freaky. When
she's first talking to the psychiatrist, he's like, "You're under my hypnosis, and now the thing possessing you is under my hypnosis." I'm like, "That's not how that works." And then it just worked. I was like, "Oh, okay." I guess we'll just go with that.
I mean, it is also 73 the movie came out.
Yeah, 1973. It was based on a book by William Peter Blatty.
Okay.
He wrote a novel in 1971. It's based on a true story from an exorcism that happened in Maryland.
Oh.
Of a 14-year-old boy in 1941.
Oh.
So he wrote a book on it. The book released in 1971. Then he wrote the screenplay for the actual film.
Going back to the score, you said that you liked it.
I did.
I'm going to be honest. Maybe I was just falling asleep. I didn't really hear anything.
Really?
It was very much very specific moments that music would play, but I noticed that a lot of the sound was just environmental sounds, people talking, cars bustling,
Which, I mean, I guess that adds to the overall atmosphere, is that you're not necessarily supposed to focus on the music, even if there was music.
Yeah.
Hear these weird sounds. Like, because, there's a big sound part that plays, like, we hear him record the girl, and when we find out she's speaking backwards, which is, like, kind of overplayed nowadays, but I think that was, like, one of the first times they ever really did something like that, or, like, that idea. Thinking back, I guess the only time I really remember the music is when the mom is walking down the street and she passes the church after she got done doing the acting scene at college or whatever.
Yes.
And she's walking down the street and we hear like the big music, and then at the ending when the other priest is standing over the stairs.
Yeah.
Like those are the two big times I remember music really being played.
Yeah.
But I mostly remember the occasional like buzzing that would just like cut off really aggressively.
Yeah.
And
it almost acted as like it was like a build up and then it just didn't drop.
It's jarring to like hear that.
It's odd.
Yeah.
And the fact that this was like in theaters, and like typically within a theater for a movie, it's like you have some sort of like soundtrack happen. Obviously, we're not from the 1970s.
What do you mean? I'm 40
you are like 80 years old.
Yeah.
So
something else I really enjoyed is while they were doing the exorcism, they take a midpoint break.
Yeah.
Like halfway through Marin and Damien. You can just see them. They're sitting on the stairs just like their head in their hands.
Yeah.
Just so emotionally and physically drained just from doing like 6-7 minutes of their exorcism. And they have like... They mentioned previously that Marion apparently had did an exorcism before and it lasted months. And, he's like a 80, 90-year-old man. I don't know how
That man has gray hair. Yeah. I don't know how he's standing up straight.
Well, and then he goes to the bathroom. He's like, I'm excusing myself to go to the bathroom. And then we just see him like literally just break down in the restroom. I like that, getting those little like character moments, just seeing how distraught they are. Because then we see Damien go downstairs and have a conversation with the mother. And the mother's like, is she going to die? And he just like can't even look at her to say whether or not, because he doesn't even know if they're going to be able to do it. Something I found interesting that you brought up just before we got on air was the spider crawl scene.
Oh, yeah. So I was going to look up the cast just in general, and what I found instead was apparently a spider walk scene to where Reagan... It's while she was still...
I think it's right after they find out the director dies.
After Burke dies?
Yeah, because we never actually see Burke die, but they mention it. Like the mom comes home and Reagan's window's open.
I think so, but it was essentially just like a thing of like... She's doing the kind of like gymnast thing
like
where
a crab
she goes...
walk.
Yeah, crab walk, but like reverse, like her body's sticking up.
Yeah.
And she's going down the stairs.
And then she flips over... I watched the scene earlier.
Yeah.
And then she, like, sticks her tongue out and, like, kind of flails it.
Yeah.
But when we watched that... So I had called my mother before this. She really likes horror movies, and I was letting her know about this. And she goes, yeah, I think that movie's all right, but the only scene that's really scary is that scene that she describes. And I go, I don't remember seeing that scene. Yeah. And it was because in the version we watched, it was taken out.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was initially in it, and then they took it out, and they put it back into some versions, but we watched it on Max, and it just wasn't there at all.
Yeah.
It was, because I thought I had missed it, like, taking a note or something.
No.
But it was just gone.
It's definitely, like, a long enough, like, little clip where you would be able to notice.
Yeah. And so it really boggled me that they took it out, and I'm not even sure why, because it's not like it's... I understand it's scary, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily the worst thing in that movie.
I feel like, you can definitely put it back in now. Like, I understand if, like, at the time they had, like, concerns with, like, families going to watch it, but...
Well,
I know. It's not really a thing of, like, families watching it, but the fact that it was still being played in a theater...
True.
With all of that...
I guess... Yeah, because, I mean, it's... Like I said, it's not the most aggressive or, like, vulgar thing in that movie, because, I mean, Reagan is constantly throwing out... curse after curse,
slur after slur as well.
After slur. She is throwing out words that I would never repeat. And it was the 70s, but also it's this cute little girl. Oh, she's not very cute anymore.
Yeah,
she is ugly and aggressive, and she is killing people. Like she does. This is what I think. Did she kill Marin? Or did Marin just have like a heart attack on the job?
I don't think he had a heart attack because in that part where Damien finds Marin just like on the floor, he like looks at him and then it pans over to Reagan. So she's like sitting there all chillaxed on the edge of the bed. Yeah. And then like not doing anything. And then Damien being the hero, he's like, let it be me. Yeah. Let it be me.
Yeah, I didn't go in expecting him to die. I was surprised that he like had the thing going him and then he jumped out the window to like save Reagan. Like that I guess I just wasn't expecting his character to go that way. Not that he wasn't a selfless character, but it's not something they necessarily built up to that point that he was like going to. I mean, but I guess that also leads back to the fact that he was already unhappy, and and you know, Regan or the demon was it the Regan? I think the demon's name was Pazuzu,
or something like that.
I think something like that, and the Pazuzu is like mimicking the mom's words and her voice and everything.
That was creepy.
And he's freaking out. He's yelling, "Shut up! Don't say that!" And all these things.
Yeah.
And Marin's like, "Calm down! Don't talk to it." But he
was the one that told him, like, "Yo, take a break, go downstairs."
Yeah. I mean, I would probably react the same if a demon.
If my mom died and I was unsure about my faith and being a psychiatrist, and then that happened,
because his mom died 3 days earlier, and
I
now
was
he's doing
gonna
this
say
exorcism.
it was like really like recent to that.
Yeah, I think this movie takes place it could be wrong, but it looked like it took place like over a week maybe.
Yeah, apart
Except
from
for
that, the beginning
opening
scene.
Yeah, the opening.
Because they said it was like 3 to 4 months after.
Well, because the opening doesn't come into play again until the ending. Yeah. Because they don't mention Marin or that like whole beginning bit literally till those last 30, 40 minutes. Well, and so I was sitting there and I was like, what happening with this opening scene?
Yeah.
My other thing was I know we see Regan playing with the
Ouija
board. Is that how she got possessed? Or
probably.
Is it something else? Because I know we see at the end we see Regan's mom give the one priest that little necklace that we saw in the desert. I don't know if it was that is what gave it to her, or Marin left that there, or whatever, because he was the one who had it. That's something I'd have to look up.
It's not
clear how she got possessed.
Right. I think. And I could be totally wrong, but I think from just like looking at it on like a base level, it definitely was like, oh snap, she's got the Ouija board, things that aren't good happen, and then you see it. I think with like Marin and the necklace, you're like, oh, that's being implemented into here somehow, but it's still like really vague. Like you need to look further.
There's like 5 sequels, and I know Regan is at least in the second one. I don't know if anybody else is.
Gosh.
Well, there's 5 sequels, not including the new one coming out. The new one's done by the same guy who did the Halloween movies, or directed by the same guy who did the new Halloween movie, that new Halloween trilogy. Something else that was funny to me is that there will just be normal conversations happening, and then suddenly Regan is doing something crazy in the bedroom.
Yeah.
They would just be having a conversation, and then we'll just hear Regan scream, and they all run upstairs, and she's like throwing stuff across the bedroom.
She like turned the cross into like a shank somehow.
Yeah. She locked her mother in the bedroom with her and started throwing like a cabinet at her.
Oh my god, yeah. She like slapped her mom across the face so bad she had to wear sunglasses when she met up with Damien. They really were just like, these past few days have been kind of odd, and then you would just hear like upstairs in the room, and it's like, oh my god.
I think that also plays in the fact that just everybody in this movie starts looking worse and worse as it goes on.
Yeah.
Even the ones who aren't experiencing the exorcism, like Damien just progressively looks worse because he's drinking and he's his mother died and all this. Like he just looks terrible. But you mentioned earlier about the production of this film. Now I know you know nothing about the production of this film. I knew a little bit beforehand. I had heard things briefly, but when I actually looked into it, I was shocked. William Friedkin, who's the director of this film, he had a reputation for doing like whatever it took to get the take that he wanted.
Oh no!
So apparently this included shooting guns next to the ears of the actors.
Oh my god!
And also hitting them to elicit real fear, as well as turning the set into an icebox in order to catch the fogged breath in the exorcism scene.
Oh my god!
So, because I actually wondered how they were doing that, I was like, that's really impressive because they didn't really have like actual CGI then. Because William Friedkin's lack of care of health and safety on the set, she got her spine permanently damaged on the set.
God.
I said, Billy, he's pulling me too hard. I can get hurt. I felt them exchange a look.
And he said, give it to her this time.
But her spine is permanently damaged.
Permanently.
Yeah. Something else about this. The set was deemed cursed.
Oh.
The actual full production
ironic.
was deemed cursed. Yeah, I know, right? But the whole set was deemed cursed. There was unlikely events that occurred. So the reason the production took 9 months is because there was a bird that flew into an electrical box and it burned down every set except for one of them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so they had to rebuild all their sets and then reshoot some stuff because there was also a giant flu epidemic that came through. and it killed 2 of the actors on set.
Who?
The director, the one who played, not the director of the film, the one who played the director. Birkin?
Yeah.
Or Birdie, something like that.
Burke.
It killed Burke, which I think is one of the reasons we didn't actually get his death scene.
Oh, that makes so much
that
sense.
could be that's just me like guessing.
Yeah.
I would assume that that we never actually get to see it, they just kind of say it, is because he died before they got to shoot it. And then also the mother of Damien's mother, she was like 90, so that was less surprising, but she also died while filming this movie.
They really went to like real measures to make sure that everything actually
it was
happened.
actually all just William Friedkin.
Oh my god.
he was just taking his cast out.
Nah.
When the film was released, because you were talking about how like they maybe were worried about families. People were seeing it. People were fainting and throwing up in
check it out. The manager of the National Theater in Westwood says that there indeed are at least a dozen people who faint or become ill during every showing. But The Exorcist is still drawing sellout houses for every performance, complete with lines around the block. I
heard about
Did
that.
you?
My girlfriend texted me that and was like, "Oh, here's a little piece of information."
Yeah.
Because of that hospital scene with Reagan, people were literally throwing up and fainting.
Oh, I wiped the hospital stuff from my that got me more than anything else in film. Like when they start putting the needle.
Don't even talk about it. Because I had my laptop open writing down little things. I straight up hid behind it. I couldn't watch it. I physically could not watch it.
It was hard to watch. Like that hospital scene.
Yeah.
The
really
first one was
showed
much
the full
more
thing.
explicit than the second.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a hugely successful film. I think probably because of like this idea that it's cursed, and Warner Brothers kind of leaned into that when they were releasing it. But on a budget of $12 million, it got $428.2 million. Oh my god, that is
a huge
wild
profit.
To put that into perspective, no other Exorcist film has gotten anywhere near that. The highest difference was like one of them got $20 million and it got like 40 back.
Oh.
That one probably broke even just because of marketing costs. They never, whenever a studio talks about the production costs, they always leave out marketing costs, but you can always usually guess that it was just double what the production cost was. It's just a good rule of thumb. It's not always right. And so that one probably just broke even. The new Exorcist movie cost $30 million compared to the $12 million this one cost. That's like more than double the amount. So
for that, like, of course, the first one's going to be the most popular. Because, like, even if you don't watch horror movies like me, like, I know you watch more than I do, but, like, everybody has at least heard of The Exorcist.
Oh, of course. It's one of those all-time classic films that, like, if you haven't seen, you should watch.
Man, the director, this one's to you, you're crazy.
If he was around in 2023, he'd get canceled.
Oh, 100%.
He'd get canceled.
Listen, he's not making the new one.
Well, no, I'm pretty sure he's passed away by now.
I don't want to say good that he's passed away, but hearing the things that he did,
yeah,
I'm glad that he's not directing it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the new one. Whether or not I'll go see it, who knows?
Yeah,
I'll probably catch it eventually. I just hope that this can continue the legacy, because in this one they actually brought back the actress who played the mother. Oh, she's in it. I don't know for like how big of a part, but she is in it. So I hope that like this feels more like a sequel. Yeah. Because I don't know how. I know this one is obviously well received, but I think the actual reviews on the other ones, as you can see in like the actual box office that they got, weren't super well received.
Yeah.
It's obviously a franchise that people care for and want to see succeed.
Right.
Hopefully this one's good.